Hello everyone, this is Gary Varner and welcome to Renegade Religion. I have to apologize about last week. I was unable to get a show put out. We had some technical difficulties, but we're back. Those difficulties are resolved, and hopefully you guys can enjoy a full show without any problems, which I'm sure you will. So, this week, let me recap. The last few weeks, we've been discussing individuals that are kind of considered the main players in the scientific movement and the main players in kind of atheist philosophy, if you will. The two we went over so far have been Richard Dawkins and Neil deGrasse Tyson. Now, I give these guys a hard time. Generally, it's good fun. I like Neil deGrasse Tyson. I like Richard Dawkins, in spite of their wonderful opinions on things. And really, I don't have a problem with most of these fellas, but there's one guy I really, really have a problem with. And his wonderful name is Lawrence Krauss. He is who I affectionately call the used car salesman of atheism. The man projects sleaze like nobody I've ever seen. And just to be very candid, he's a liar. There's no other way to put it. He's a liar. He lies about facts. He kind of does the technical debate terminology would be equivocation. In reality, it's called a bait and switch because he knows what he's doing. And not only is he a liar, the guy knows what he's doing, but he's mean. He is a mean character. You know, Christopher Hitchens always had a certain amount of decorum. He was always very refined. Even when he was calling Mother Teresa horrible names, the guy was able to do it in a way that was just classy, and you could tell he believed it. He wasn't just being hateful. Richard Dawkins will say inflammatory, arrogant things, but to be completely honest, it's kind of hilarious because he just gets so adamant, and he's being inflammatory for the sake of being inflammatory, and it's hard to take him seriously. But this guy, people really give Lawrence Krauss a lot of credit. Way more credit than the dude actually deserves, because he's one of the most dishonest creatures I've ever come across. And he's spiteful. And the most famous example I can think of regarding him is his debates with a prominent apologetics expert or philosopher. I'm not sure what the correct title is, but Dr. William Lane Craig is his name. He had 3 debates with Dr. William Lane Craig in Brisbane, Melbourne, and Sydney, Australia. And just to give you an idea what a delightful human being Krauss is, somebody actually clocked, and I'm not joking, somebody actually clocked Krauss during these debates, which that fact by itself should tell you right there this guy has a bit of a reputation to start with. But they clocked how many times Lawrence Krauss actually interrupted William Lane Craig. In Brisbane, he interrupted him 60 plus times. But not just 60 plus times. Lawrence Krauss couldn't stop with just basic interrupting. He had a buzzer. He had this little buzzer, and he called it William Lane Craig's, pardon my French, BS buzzer. And if you count the times he interrupted William Lane Craig with this buzzer, it was plus 70. Plus 70 times in Brisbane, Australia. Compare that to William Lane Craig, who interrupted him 9 times, and most of those times were telling Krauss to stop interrupting him. In Sydney, it was 75 times, and they clocked it. It was an average of Krauss interrupting William Lane Craig once every 50 seconds. And imagine that going on for 2 hours. That's how bad that was. And then in Melbourne, it was a little lower. It was 70 times. And he managed to interrupt Craig once every 48 seconds. And again, compared to Dr. Craig's interrupting him 7 times in both of those debates, again, mostly just telling Krauss to be quiet and quit interrupting him, to actually have decorum, because it's a formal debate and we're supposed to be adults here or whatever. So just to give you, and this is amazing. I couldn't quite put together a montage of this, but I should have, looking back on it. But the moderators were repeatedly telling Krauss to knock it off. Here's a clip of one of the moderators. This should suffice.
Theology is the study of God. It gives us.
But didn't you say God isn't subject to science? So what, didn't you say God? Didn't you say science can't? God is not subject to science. Didn't you say God is outside science? So if in that case, if theology is study of God, how can it be a science?
Well,
Lawrence, let him answer the question,
Well-
please, because we're not actually going to get anywhere if you're constantly talking over Bill. Please.
okay. Literary criticism is a source of knowledge. He says literary.
I taught at Yale, and I can tell you literary criticism is a source of lack of knowledge.
He points out that literary.
Lawrence, can you please just allow Bill to make the final comment here? Otherwise, we simply will be here all night.
One friend of ours.
So, as you can see, this went on for quite a while. This just kind of goes to show the caliber of human being this guy is. He's not... It's hard to gauge whether or not the guy is actually intelligent. I don't know if he is or he isn't. With Dawkins and Sherman and deGrasse Tyson and really everybody else, you can tell they're smart guys. Sam Harris, you can tell these guys are smart guys. They know their stuff. They're very intelligent. With Krauss, he's just given this reputation of such insane, benevolent intellect. And yet he's to be very candid, he's just kind of stupid. And he's a bully. Let's put it that way. He's a bully, he's gruff, he shouts people down. He's that kind of a guy. He just shouts people down. And that's the least of it, sadly. His rude demeanor is the least of his flaws, unfortunately. But, yeah. I think we're going to run this segment a little bit short this time. Or I'm going to anyway. And I think we're going to come back, and I'm just going to jump right into the theories. If I start now, I'm going to get right in the middle of something and have to cut you off in a break, and I really don't want to do that. So, for now, guys, we'll be right back. Do not go away.
Well, sis, what do you think?
John, your home is beautiful. Hardwood floors, granite countertops, and that fireplace?
Do you like it? The reclaimed wood was my idea.
Your idea?
Yeah, Old School Construction customizes their homes. I also had them expand the pantry and the living room.
I've been looking for a new home, but I didn't just want another cookie-cutter house.
Sounds like Old School Construction can help.
Old School Construction. We build a place where life happens. For more information, call 918-809-2333 or visit us online at oldschoolconstruction.com. Again, that's 918-809-2333.
So, you love politics, but you're not always sure where your ideas line up. Well, don't worry about it. Listen to Renegade Reason, where if your ideas don't match ours, you're not one of them. Renegade Reason isn't unbiased. It's very biased. We're just not always sure where that bias lines up. But if you think you can handle unfiltered opinions, then you're more than welcome. Visit Renegade Reason on YouTube. Renegade Reason. It's okay to have an original thought. Renegade Reason is a part of Liberty Studios.
Do you find yourself asking, what did you say? Aaron Cristiano of Ranch Acres Audiology has over 25 years of experience helping patients just like you.
Hearing requires conservation. We need to be aware and we need to be responsible for our own hearing health.
Understand more with a little help from Ranch Acres Audiology. Call 918-749-7711. That's 918-749-7711 to learn more.
Renegade Religion would like to take a moment to remind everyone that just believing in a God is not enough. James 2:19 says, "You believe that there is one God." Good. Even the demons believe that and shudder. We believe that Jesus is the Son of the one true God and died for our sins. We need to submit our lives to Christ alone and strive to be like Him at all times.
At Our Key Custom Cabinets, we believe in Colossians 3:23, which says, "Whatever you do, do it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not human masters." Here at Our Key Custom Cabinets, we're celebrating 20 years striving to do just that, and we would like to do the same for you. We're located at 13191 Betty Road, Gravette, Arkansas, or you can call us at 479-787-5173. Again, that's 479-787-5173. We're looking forward to hearing from you.
What's wrong, Jess?
I've spent what feels like years digging through travel magazines and going online to figure out where I want to go for my vacation, but I'm more lost than when I started. I just want a vacation where I don't have to worry about trying to locate interesting places to visit, getting lost, or finding a nice hotel room. But that's probably impossible.
Actually, it's not. With Making Memories Tours, you're able to enjoy a worry-free vacation that includes great attractions, informed tour guides, and comfy hotel rooms. You know, Making Memories has over 30 national and international tours scheduled for 2018. Where would you like to go?
I don't know. There are so many great places I would like to visit. Do you have a list of upcoming tours?
I have a free catalog that you can look through here. You can also visit us online at makingmemoriestours.com. If you'd like to meet our team, learn more about our upcoming trips, and receive discounts, you can come visit us at our tour preview show on December the 9th from 10 to noon at the Tulsa Hampton Inn, located at 3418 South 79th Avenue. We'll be happy to answer any of your questions you may have, show you our future tours, as well as give you the opportunity to receive special discounts for our coming tours. Discover how you can start making memories by visiting us at our tour preview show on December the 9th from 10 till noon at Tulsa's Hampton Inn, located at 3418 South 79th Avenue. Or go online at makingmemoriestours.com. With Making Memories Tours, you take care of the memories, we'll take care of you.
And we're back. Thanks for sticking with us. Okay, so I guess the best place to start is to discuss why I find this guy so irreprehensible. Now, look, we've talked about atheists in the past, and I think I've opened with the show with the idea that there are two different kinds of atheists. There are atheists who legitimately have doubts, they have legitimate questions, and there's rebuttals to each and every argument, but still, the questions are understandable. You know, if there's a good God, why is there so much pain in the world? If Christianity is real, then why do Christians act like such dunderheads so much of the time? I mean, these are questions that, it's not that they don't have answers, but they're understandable, and we've all felt that way at one time or another. So why go after Lawrence Krauss and call him such a scuzzball whenever he's basically kind of addressing the same points, at least on the surface? Well, the reason is because below the surface, he's lying. The guy is to put it this way, a proponent of academic dishonesty. Let's put it that way. Strictly speaking, in debate terms, he commits equivocation fallacies, but really, in English, he's doing a bunch of bait and switches. Whenever an ideology is bad, or whenever you're looking for the first hints that an ideology might be wrong or incorrect, the first thing you have to look for is terminology that is changed or words that switch meanings. We've talked about this a number of times with the word evolution. Whenever scientists start trying to make the case for evolution, very often what they will do is they will switch the word evolution to mean cosmic evolution, the process of gases, microevolution, minor changes within a species, to macroevolution, meaning changes from one species to another, and they switch these terms in and out. What Lawrence Krauss does is he takes this idea of basically switching out words and he applies them to physics. So, for example, when Lawrence Krauss uses the word nothing, when he uses the term something from nothing, he really doesn't mean something from nothing. He means something from what could most easily be described as a quantum vacuum. And that is not the same thing as nothing at all. A simpler way to put it, I like the way Dinesh D'Souza described his general methods. Lawrence Krauss has this funny little way of, whenever he does his math and this stuff, he basically takes all the particles, all the matter, and he counts them as a positive number. Then he takes all the energy and the forces like space and time. And I'm being simplistic, mind you. And he counts them as negative numbers. And then he subtracts the two, and he comes to 0. And then he calls 0 nothing. Which any philosopher and their dog is going to tell you that that's not the same thing. 0 is not the same thing as nothing. 0 is the absence of something. 0 is part of a numeric system. It's not the traditional definition of the word nothing. Nothing is, in the words of Frank Turek, what rocks dream about. So when Lawrence Krauss starts saying that the universe came from nothing, he's not using the same definition of nothing as you and I or anybody who typically understands the word would use. This is just flat out lying, really. It's a clever little bait and trick, and people fall for it. People fall for it. In fact, from this concept of nothing, he will take that concept and he will build on it with all sorts of weird hyperbole. Basically, he'll talk about how particles are phasing in and out of existence inside of a quantum vacuum, which is equally not true. Basically, these particles are not coming in and out of existence. They're changing states of being. They're moving from one kind of particle to another kind of particle to energy, that sort of thing. But he uses the hyperbole. He uses the hyperbole of coming in and out of existence and coming from nothing to deliberately confuse his viewers. And when every philosopher and his dog called him on this, you could have said before that moment that he was basically confused, perhaps. You could have made that argument. But alas, he did not settle for that. What he did instead was he said, well, you know what? You philosophers are wrong. And he basically condemned the entirety of philosophy and said it was philosophers who have the problem. That the traditional definition of nothing should be completely ignored. And we should go with his definition of nothing. And since having this big fallout with these various philosophers, he has went on this little war with philosophy and basically taken the similar approach of Stephen Hawking and saying that philosophy is dead or philosophy is irrelevant, without realizing the irony that in so saying such bold statements, he has himself become a philosopher. But ignoring all that, that's the first example of how he's basically using dishonest tactics to make his point. The second example is much more damning, and unfortunately, I don't think I can do a good enough job explaining what happened. So let me give a brief synopsis, and then I'm going to let William Lane Craig, the guy who experienced all this wonderfulness, tell the story better than I can. Essentially, as I mentioned in the first segment, Lawrence Krauss and Dr. William Lane Craig had a series of 3 different debates, in which case Lawrence Krauss just tried to act like a bulldog and railroad everybody with his unenlightened opinions, let's put it that way. But he didn't stop there. He basically took an email that he had written to Alexander Vilenkin, who is the guy who invented the Born-Guth-Vilenkin theorem, and that Craig will explain all that briefly in his segment, or his little soundbite from his show, I should say. He basically made it look like Vilenkin was disagreeing with Dr. Craig's interpretation of his own theorem, when really Vilenkin was saying the exact opposite. So before I dig myself in a hole trying to explain all of this, here's Dr. Craig to explain what happened.
Was there an opportunity to respond to this first argument?
Yes, there was. And this, I think, Kevin, is one of the most interesting features in this whole remarkable series of 3 dialogues. In the Sydney dialogue, and then again in the Melbourne dialogue, Dr. Krauss put up a PowerPoint slide of a private email message that he had received from Alexander Vilenkin, whose theorem I quoted in support of the beginning of the universe. ostensibly claiming to undercut the evidence for the beginning of the verse. And of course, since this is a private, unpublished letter, there's no way to check its accuracy. And therefore, it makes it difficult to respond to such a thing. Now, someone took a cell phone photo of the PowerPoint in the Sydney Dialogue, and I had a chance then to look at it and analyze it before the Melbourne Dialogue. And what I noticed were some very suspicious and interesting features of this. In the opening paragraph of this letter from Vilenkin, he says that a possible loophole around the Borde-Guth-Vilenkin theorem is that there might be an epoch of contraction prior to the expansion. And in this way, the universe would not have been in a state of cosmic expansion on average throughout its history if you had this contracting phase prior to the expanding phase. And the email message says such models have been discussed by Aguirre and Grattan and by Carroll and Chen. Well, immediately my antenna went up because I thought, these are the very models that Vilenkin discusses in the paper that I quoted from, that he presented last year at Cambridge University, in which he says none of these scenarios can actually be past eternal. And he shows specifically by name why the Aguirre-Grattan model and the Carroll-Chen model do not succeed in restoring an eternal past. So as I looked at this, I thought, when he says a possible loophole, what he must mean is that here's a possible way you might try to get around the theorem, but in fact, this won't work. He closes the loophole. That's what he does in the paper. And I had seen a similar letter like this that Vilenkin wrote to Victor Stenger that is out there on the web, in which he says very much the same thing. He says you could have a contraction prior to the expansion. But then the letter to Stenger goes on to say, this might make it sound like there's nothing the matter with having a contraction, but in fact, such a model would involve all kinds of messy singularities so that it would never get to the expanding phase. In other words, these models don't work. They don't succeed in restoring an eternal past. And I thought, that's what he meant when he said a possible loophole. And that's then, Kevin, when I noticed the ellipsis points in the email message that Krauss reproduced. Yes, ... indicating material had been deleted from this email. And I thought, Krauss has omitted some of this letter. What did he leave out? Could it have been a qualifying phrase similar to what he offered to Stenger? Well, I had no way at that time of knowing because I didn't have the original letter. But in the Melbourne Dialogue, I confronted Krauss on this, and I said, in the paper at Cambridge, these very models are mentioned by name as not restoring a past eternal universe, and I wonder what you've omitted from this letter by Vilenkin. And Krauss's response was technical material. And he said this more one. I told you technical material. Well, in fact, Kevin, it wasn't technical material. I have now obtained a copy of the original letter. Alex Vilenkin has sent it to me. And can I read you the 2 sentences that are deleted from the letter?
Please.
Okay. He says, models of this sort have been discussed by Aguirre and Grattan and by Carroll and Chen. And then here's the deleted sentences. They had to assume, though, that the minimum of entropy was reached at the bounce and offered no mechanism to enforce this condition. It seems to me that it is essentially equivalent to a beginning.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. That second sentence would have been devastating for Krauss to quote in the dialogue. Vilenkin's whole point is that these models are equivalent to a universe with a beginning in that they have a universe in which you have a minimal entropy state from which 2 arrows of time go out. You have, in a sense, a twin universe, two arrows of time that both emerge from a common origin point, a common beginning. It is not a past eternal universe, and that's why he rejects them in the Cambridge paper as restoring a past eternal universe. So this quotation was deliberately doctored by Dr. Krauss to give a contrary impression. And I find this so ironic, Kevin, in light of Krauss's opening remarks in Brisbane about the need in science for honesty, transparency, and full disclosure, which he then, in the severest terms, criticized me for violating, when in fact it turns out that it was Krauss himself who was doing this.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I know what some of you were thinking. What in the world is the Borguth-Vilenkin theorem? There's a lot of technical hyperbole there, but the easiest way to understand the Borguth-Vilenkin theorem is basically it's a mathematical formula that proves or attempts to prove that as long as the universe is expanding on average, then there's no way that the universe couldn't have had a beginning. That the universe essentially had to have a beginning if it was expanding on average. And there's a whole bunch of little technical details involved with that. If I say any more, I'm just going to show my own ignorance on the topic. But essentially, what Lawrence Krauss did was he deliberately lied in the debate. And the way that he lied was he took Alexander Vilenkin, who was one of the guys that worked on the Borguth-Vilenkin theorem, and he emailed Vilenkin. Vilenkin sent him an email back, and Krauss basically cut sections of it that were, not good for his case. And made it so that the letter literally sounded like it was saying the exact opposite of what it was actually saying. So he lied. He lied. Just flat out lied, which is amazing when you think about it, because it's a very interesting combination of laziness and stupidity. Because he had to know. The man had to know that somebody was going to take a picture of that email. Somebody was going to go out of their way to check it. And if nothing else, Dr. Craig was going to ask Vilenkin what the email was about. I mean, there was no way that that idiot of a man was going to get away with pulling something like that. And yet he did. It was a very obvious lie, and it was easily caught, and he was easily called out on it. And, people knew. People knew right away. So this is just one of a multitude of examples that show this guy is just as sleazy as they come. This man is a real snake in the grass. I mean, when you talk about dishonest, lying about facts, distorting information, intentionally using inaccurate hyperbole to confuse his audience, Lawrence Krauss is the quintessential example of that. He's the, I would say, if I was ever given the opportunity, I would probably debate Sam Harris, Richard Dawkins. I mean, if I could be given that opportunity and actually had the brain to do it, I would debate those guys. But I wouldn't debate a guy like Lawrence Krauss, because the guy's a liar. And once somebody's willing to commit to lying, there's no debate to be had, because you can't trust what the guy's saying at any given point. And you're always going to have to be checking him. But I don't just want to criticize the guy. I want to ask a more fundamental question. Why did Lawrence Krauss lie? What drove him to lie? And this is, for me, one of the biggest mistakes I made when I first really started trying to debate with atheists of this kind of caliber, I should specify. We as Christians, we're constantly dealing with doubt. That's something as a Christian, even if a lot of us pretend like we never have doubts and we never have problems, we all deal with that at one time or another. And doubt is an interesting thing. It drives us to react to it in multiple ways. Some of us stick our chests out and huff and puff and grit our teeth and say, no, I don't doubt. I'll never doubt, blah, blah, blah. Some of us, acknowledge it and understand that, okay, we're human, we're not going to ever understand everything. I'm choosing this in faith, and that's the end of it. And for me, and I can't say which is the right way to deal with doubt, but for me, doubt was the thing that kind of pushed me forward. I researched apologetics, and I researched theology, and I researched philosophy because of my doubt. Because I doubted the Bible, because I doubted religion, because I doubted God. That's the thing that spurred me on to research it and to really try to figure out what the truth was. That was important to me. And when I began to debate other people about these topics, I assumed that everybody felt the same way. That doubt, as it were, was kind of what drove all of us to have these conversations. And I lived with that assumption. I have since learned that this is not always the case. This is the case for some, but this is not always the case. And this is not the case with Lawrence Krauss, I believe. There are some people out there that they are so sure that they're right. They're so confident that they're right. And they have so much contempt for anybody who's wrong that they consider the conversation and the debate in and of itself not worth their time. And I would propose to you that this is the real reason why Lawrence Krauss lied. He didn't lie because he doubted the truth of his claims. He didn't lie because he feels like he's wrong. He lied because he is an arrogant little weasel, and he didn't think the debate was worth his time. It's not that he was scared of his ideas not being true. He just didn't think, he felt like William Lane Craig and the audience was beneath him, and he wasn't going to invest the time to take the debate seriously. And in my humble opinion, it is this kind of atheist, it is this kind of individual who is the most dangerous to faith, who is the most dangerous to Christian culture. These guys are actually a little bit dangerous. Because once you've gotten to the point where you're so sure that you're right that you're going to close off all conversation with anybody else, you're in dangerous territory. And the reason you're in dangerous territory is, if for no other reason, you ever get into power, you start trying to shut out everybody else who disagrees with you. I mean, think about this. Really think about this. Not just focusing on the fact that the guy lied, but let's go back to the thing where he refuses to acknowledge the traditional definition of nothing. Let's focus on that for a minute. What kind of man, what kind of arrogant, superficial jerk is going to take the standard definition of nothing that people have believed in and accepted as the standard definition since written history was ever found and discovered? I mean, we've never known a time that nothing was not defined in a way that we traditionally understand to be nothing, to be what rocks dream about. There's never been another definition for it. And yet, because he is so super and awesome and incredible, he is going to sit there and completely redefine the word and then not bother to give anybody any reason for redefining this word, not justify his claim, but to go, well, philosophy is irrelevant. Philosophy is not important. Philosophy is secondary to science. And to be so blind to the fact that saying that makes him a philosopher. You have to be arrogant to a degree of stupid. And this is what I think the Bible means when it says the term willingly ignorant. And this is the kind of arrogance that doesn't just bleed into spirituality, it bleeds into every corner of your life. If you are this arrogant, you're not going to have an easy time of it because you have zero capability for self-reflection. I mean, zero. This guy, it's not that he was so dumb that he didn't consider the possibility of not getting caught. He just didn't care. It didn't matter. The conversation didn't matter because he was so sure that he was right. Guys like this are a real problem. Guys like this are the closest thing to an enemy as far as Christian circles should be concerned that we have. And at least as far as atheists go. I need to add that caveat. This is why I don't like the guy. The rest of the atheists I disagree with. I think there's good arguments against, but I kind of enjoy listening to them. I'm intrigued by their charm, and I love razzing them a little bit. You know, one of my favorite lines is the whole Richard Dawkins line we said last week. You know, the only thing he ever proved is that anything sounds intelligent when you say it with a British accent. I love making fun of these guys, but there's no real anger or animosity or concern whenever I'm talking about these guys. But with guys like Lawrence Krauss, I do get concerned. I do get worried, because guys like this are the kind of people that will silence an opposing ideology if they get the ghost of a chance. So, anyway, we're out of time for this segment, so when we come back, I've got a little rant that I'm going to do. It's not really a current events segment, but it is a rant, and it is something that I do want to discuss with you. It's very important, so don't go away.
What's wrong, Jess?
I've spent what feels like years digging through travel magazines and going online to figure out where I want to go for my vacation, but I'm more lost than when I started. I just want a vacation where I don't have to worry about trying to locate interesting places to visit, getting lost, or finding a nice hotel room. But that's probably impossible.
Actually, it's not. With Making Memories Tours, you're able to enjoy a worry-free vacation that includes great attractions, informed tour guides, and comfy hotel rooms. You know, Making Memories has over 30 national and international tours scheduled for 2018. Where would you like to go?
I don't know. There are so many great places I would like to visit. Do you have a list of upcoming tours?
I have a free catalog that you can look through here. You can also visit us online at makingmemoriestours.com. If you'd like to meet our team, learn more about our upcoming trips, and receive discounts, you can come visit us at our tour preview show on December the 9th from 10 to noon at the Tulsa Hampton Inn, located at 3418 South 79th Avenue. We'll be happy to answer any of your questions you may have, show you our future tours, as well as give you the opportunity to receive special discounts for our coming tours. Discover how you can start making memories by visiting us at our tour preview show on December the 9th from 10 till noon at Tulsa's Hampton Inn, located at 3418 South 79th Avenue. Or go online at makingmemoriestours.com. With Making Memories Tours, you take care of the memories, we'll take care of you.
Renegade Religion would like to take a moment to remind everyone that just believing in a God is not enough. James 2:19 says, "You believe that there is one God. Good. Even the demons believe that and shudder." We believe that Jesus is the Son of the one true God and died for our sins. We need to submit our lives to Christ alone and strive to be like Him at all times.
At RT Custom Cabinets, we believe in Colossians 3:23, which says, "Whatever you do, do it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not human masters." Here at RT Custom Cabinets, we're celebrating 20 years striving to do just that, and we would like to do the same for you. We're located at 13191 Betty Road, Gravette, Arkansas, or you can call us at 479-787-5173. Again, that's 479-787-5173. We're looking forward to hearing from you.
Do you find yourself asking, what did you say? Aaron Cristiano of Ranch Acres Audiology has over 25 years of experience helping patients just like you.
Hearing requires conservation. We need to be aware and we need to be responsible for our own hearing health.
Understand more with a little help from Ranch Acres Audiology. Call 918-749-7711. That's 918-749-7711 to learn more.
So, you love politics, but you're not always sure where your ideas line up. Well, don't worry about it. Listen to Renegade Reason, where if your ideas don't match ours, you're not one of them. Renegade Reason isn't unbiased. It's very biased. We're just not always sure where that bias lines up. But if you think you can handle unfiltered opinions, then you're more than welcome. Visit Renegade Reason on YouTube. Renegade Reason. It's okay to have an original thought. Renegade Reason is a part of Liberty Studios.
Well, sis, what do you think?
John, your home is beautiful. Hardwood floors, granite countertops, and that fireplace?
Do you like it? The reclaimed wood was my idea.
Your idea?
Yeah, Old School Construction customizes their homes. I also had them expand the pantry and the living room.
I've been looking for a new home, but I didn't just want another cookie-cutter house.
Sounds like Old School Construction can help.
Old School Construction. We build the place where life happens. For more information, call 918-809-2333 or visit us online at oldschoolconstruction.com. Again, that's 918-809-2333.
We're back, guys. Thanks for sticking with us. Alright, so for this segment, normally we go over current events. I'm not going to do that this time. I actually have a bit of a story for you, and it's important to me. So let's just get into it. So, a couple weeks back, I went to cash my checks from my various advertisers. Thank you, by the way. For keeping the show afloat. I went to cash the checks from them, and I bank at Arvis Bank, usually. Well, I went to a different branch location than I typically go to. It was the Arvis Bank in downtown Tulsa. I don't usually go there, but circumstances and driving around had put me in a situation where I kind of had to. And I noticed something interesting. And this isn't my first time encountering this, but it hit me pretty hard this time. As I'm walking into the lobby, I got to use the restroom. So I look at the teller, and I ask her, hey, is there a restroom? Where's the restroom? And she says, oh, I'm sorry, we don't have one. And I look over to my right, and I see in a gold-plated lettering, customer restroom. And I literally go up to her, and I'm like, you literally have a bathroom door that says customer restroom right there. And I should point out at this moment that there was a little padlock on it. I mean, I thought it was the vault instead of the customer bathroom, at first. Well, she looks at me, doubtfully, I guess. And she goes, well, are you a customer? Do you have business here? And I look at her and I go, yes. And I start to pull out my checks. And she all of a sudden becomes much more friendly. And she goes, oh, well, in that case, the security guard will let you into the bathroom, because that's absolutely what I want, guys. Whenever I've got some personal business to do in the bathroom, I want the old security guard to unlock the door for me and then stand over me while I walk into the bathroom to conduct my business. That's the quality banking experience I'm after. I don't know about you. But anyway, so I cash my checks, and I'm about to walk out of the lobby because I'm just mad. I've forgotten that I need to use the restroom at this point, and I'm just already mad and annoyed. And she, right before I'm about to go through the glass doors down there, she looks at me and she says, well, she hollers out across the lobby, I should say, well, sir, do you want to use the restroom still? Because this is also what I want, guys. I want everybody in the bank to know that I have to use the restroom. This is also important to me during my banking experience. And so I turn back to her, already clearly committed to this, and I go, yeah. So we walk to the Fort Knox bathroom, and the old security guard types in his codes. And I just, I don't have the vocabulary to express how awkward this is. But I go in, and I finish my business. And I walk out, and I'm about to leave. And a little voice in my head says, no. Stay for a minute. I'm going to call this voice God, and you'll see why here in a minute. So as I'm walking through the glass doors, I stop because I hear this voice. And about 2 seconds or so later, this old woman, obviously homeless, in a trench coat, comes through the glass doors. And so I turn around. It doesn't take a genius to figure out why I should be there still. And I watch this old woman go to get a cup of coffee, because the Arvest Bank in Tulsa has a coffee machine that I guess is also allowed for customers. Ironically, though, the coffee machine does not have a padlock on it. And this woman commences to getting herself a cup of coffee. And lo and behold, that old security guard comes up behind this woman and begins to question her. I didn't hear what was said because I was on the other side of the doors. But it didn't take a genius to figure out where the conversation was going. Needless to say, she was not going to be there for very long. I have had plenty of time to think about this story, and had things not went AWOL last week, I would have brought this story up then. Because it happened about a day after it happened like Monday after the show the week before last. I hear people say a lot that private businesses have the right to do essentially whatever they want most of the time. Regardless of that being true or false, just because you have the right to do something doesn't make it the right thing to do. The way the Arvest Bank in downtown Tulsa treated that woman was disgraceful. It was disgusting. It was subhuman. And Oklahoma and the city of Tulsa likes to fashion itself as some sort of Christian beacon compared to the heathens in California or whatever. Well, that was not very Christ-like. I don't know if I'm going to remove my business from Arvest Bank, because I don't know if this is a general policy with the bank itself, or if this is just a policy for that particular branch. But I am disgusted by it. And I will tell you this: I will not go back to the Arvest Bank in downtown Tulsa no matter what. They will never get another dime of my business again. I'm not even comfortable saying that by itself is enough. But, I know this is an opening radio show, and I know I've got a pretty small platform to start off with, but I would be a terrible waste of a human being if I did not call this out with what little platform I have. I may not have a lot of money, but I can do that much. And the people, that security guard in that bank should be ashamed of himself. Those tellers should be ashamed of themselves. And it doesn't take a genius to figure out why. Christ says, feed the hungry. Now look, I understand the situation with the homeless in Tulsa and in city areas can be complicated. I get it. A lot of people are homeless because of drug addiction. A lot of people are homeless because of mental disorders. And it can be dangerous to give some of them money. It can be dangerous to even give some of them clothing. But I will say this: when me and my wife are doing well, and we're in a situation where we can help, we go and we get them food. We get them stuff they can't trade for drugs or cigarettes or whatever. We'll go to a fast food joint and we'll get them a burger. And that takes a little more time than just throwing money at something, but that's what we feel like we can do. And it may not be much, but it shows that we care. And they're not animals that you shouldn't feed. And I'm not saying that the bank in Arvest should just let every homeless person into their doors, but they can stand to give an old woman in a trench coat a cup of coffee. And I can't say why they're doing this. I hesitate to assume motive. But I can tell you when I encountered this sort of behavior in Branson, it was to run the homeless off. They put out laws in place, vagrancy laws of the sort, to make sure that the homeless were ran out of Branson, not because they were causing a problem, but because homeless people don't look too pretty in a tourist town. And thank God the hotels in that city said to heck with the board, to heck with the people who passed that law, and they let the homeless people stay in their hotels. I don't have a particular call to action in bringing this story up. I'm not even sure why. Oh, I'm bringing it up because it upset me. It upset me in a very profound way because what's wrong with you? Are you so vain that you're scared of letting homeless people use your bathroom, that you're scared of letting homeless people get a cup of coffee while there's a security guard standing right in the dang lobby? Are you so vain that you're concerned that much with your aesthetic that you refuse to help people? And this city, which prides itself on being conservative and prides itself on being Christian, is going to encourage that? I don't have an answer. But I watched that, and I can say comfortably that that is not right. And whoever made that policy, whoever's encouraging those policies, should be ashamed of themselves. Shame on this city for allowing that. We'll be right back.
Renegade Religion would like to take a moment to remind everyone that just believing in a God is not enough. James 2:19 says, "You believe that there is one God. Good. Even the demons believe that and shudder." We believe that Jesus is the Son of the one true God and died for our sins. We need to submit our lives to Christ alone and strive to be like Him at all times.
At RT Custom Cabinets, we believe in Colossians 3:23, which says, "Whatever you do, do it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not human masters." Here at RT Custom Cabinets, we're celebrating 20 years striving to do just that, and we would like to do the same for you. We're located at 13191 Betty Road, Gravette, Arkansas, or you can call us at 479-787-5173. Again, that's 479-787-5173. We're looking forward to hearing from you.
What's wrong, Jess?
I've spent what feels like years digging through travel magazines and going online to figure out where I want to go for my vacation, but I'm more lost than when I started. I just want a vacation where I don't have to worry about trying to locate interesting places to visit, getting lost, or finding a nice hotel room. But that's probably impossible.
Actually, it's not. With Making Memories Tours, you're able to enjoy a worry-free vacation that includes great attractions, informed tour guides, and comfy hotel rooms. You know, Making Memories has over 30 national and international tours scheduled for 2018. Where would you like to go?
I don't know. There are so many great places I would like to visit. Do you have a list of upcoming tours?
I have a free catalog that you can look through here. You can also visit us online at makingmemoriestours.com. If you'd like to meet our team, learn more about our upcoming trips, and receive discounts, you can come visit us at our tour preview show on December the 9th from 10 to noon at the Tulsa Hampton Inn, located at 3418 South 79th Avenue. We'll be happy to answer any of your questions you may have, show you our future tours, as well as give you the opportunity to receive special discounts for our coming tours. Discover how you can start making memories by visiting us at our tour preview show on December the 9th from 10 till noon at Tulsa's Hampton Inn, located at 3418 South 79th Avenue. Or go online at makingmemoriestours.com. With Making Memories Tours, you take care of the memories, we'll take care of you.
Do you find yourself asking, what did you say? Aaron Cristiano of Ranch Acres Audiology has over 25 years of experience helping patients just like you.
Hearing requires conservation. We need to be aware and we need to be responsible for our own hearing health.
Understand more with a little help from Ranch Acres Audiology. Call 918-749-7711. That's 918-749-7711 to learn more.
So, you love politics, but you're not always sure where your ideas line up. Well, don't worry about it. Listen to Renegade Reason, where if your ideas don't match ours, you're not one of them. Renegade Reason isn't unbiased. It's very biased. We're just not always sure where that bias lines up. But if you think you can handle unfiltered opinions, then you're more than welcome. Visit Renegade Reason on YouTube. Renegade Reason. It's okay to have an original thought. Renegade Reason is a part of Liberty Studios.
Well, sis, what do you think?
John, your home is beautiful. Hardwood floors, granite countertops, and that fireplace?
Do you like it? The reclaimed wood was my idea.
Your idea?
Yeah, Old School Construction customizes their homes. I also had them expand the pantry and the living room.
I've been looking for a new home, but I didn't just want another cookie-cutter house.
Sounds like Old School Construction can help.
Old School Construction. We build a place where life happens. For more information, call 918-809-2333 or visit us online at oldschoolconstruction.com. Again, that's 918-809-2333.
Okay, guys, last segment. I know that last one was a little heavy, at least it was for me, but we're going to try to end like we always do on something positive. This is a positive story, even if it is positive in a bit of a cynical way. But let's not waste any time. Let's just get into it. This comes to us from the Daily Wire. Global Atheist Convention called Reason to Hope canceled because no one wants to go. And I only have one thing to say to this. It's a little reason to hope. I think us Christians, we're not doing as bad as some people like to say we are. So, anyway, something happy to end with. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. I always appreciate your time. Remember, my email address is in the KCFO website, and you can email me with questions you might have, or comments, or angry letters, or whatever. We're still trying to get the Facebook page up. That will happen. Like I said, we've been having some technical problems, but they're resolved. So hopefully we can get caught up and kind of get things where we need to be. And second that comes up, just type in Renegade Religion on Facebook, and we will be there. And you can argue back and forth, or argue with me at your leisure. And don't forget that we have PayPal, Patreon, and GoFundMe, and all of that good stuff going on as well, and if you'd like to send your support. And we're always looking for sponsors to sponsor this radio show as well. And so, guys, thank you so much for listening to this show. I know it was a little bit different than normal, but thank you for sticking with us. And God willing, we will see you next time. Peace.